Welcome to an epic journey through a world of dark fantasy where ancient forces clash and the fate of realms hang in the balance. In this gripping tale, follow Katlyn, Craig, and Forrest as they face unimaginable dangers, uncover hidden truths, and confront the terrifying god of monsters, Baladon. From mysterious forests to apocalyptic battles, each moment is filled with suspense, magic, and high stakes. Are you ready to dive into a story where heroes are forged in the fires of destiny? Let's embark on this adventure together. I didn't need to look up to know that Craig and Forrest were exchanging another look. When I opened my eyes a few minutes ago, I had been staring right up into Craig's face. He had sighed with relief to see me awake, but the last thing I wanted was to have my head resting in some demon's lap. Demon. I couldn't believe that was what I was thinking right now. Demons and dragons. Katlyn, Craig started, but I held up my hand and his mouth snapped shut. I poked the fire with a stick, imagining it was both of them. I hadn't meant to go off on them earlier. I'd always told myself that those strange sensations, the feeling of something living inside me, were just in my head. But now, I knew that was a lie. I fiddled with the bangle on my wrist, tempted to remove it, but what would happen then? I lost my temper without taking the bangle off, and I feared what I'd do if I really let my true self show. My dragon self. Okay, I have some questions, but I want simple answers. Simple answers? Forrest repeated, looking skeptical. I'm not sure how that'll work. It'll work by you guys not overcomplicating things, I muttered. Yes or no answers and very short explanations. I'm still trying to accept the fact that I'm a dragon. Saying it out loud felt even worse than it did in my head. First question, where are we? Forrest held up his hands, deferring to Craig for an answer. Can we start with an easier question? Craig pleaded. It can't be that hard, I argued, but his expression said otherwise. All right, we'll come back to that one. Who are you? Who or what? I stabbed my stick into the dirt hard and he smirked. You're really going to sit there and smile at me? Sorry, you're cute when you're angry. Craig, remember that I saved your ass today, I reminded him through gritted teeth. True, I am Craig, son of Ragnall, Demon King and ruler of Broshen. King? Damn, I thought this question would be easy. So you're a prince? And Broshen, I'm almost afraid to ask, but I'm assuming that's not where I'm from. Technically, I'm a prince, but a bastard one. My mum was not exactly a demon. What was she? I asked, hoping I wasn't going to regret the answer. Human. And Broshen is not in your world. All of our homes have been removed from the human world to keep us safe, Craig explained, gesturing as if that would make it clearer. There are portals to get to our worlds. Portals that should only be opened with the utmost care. He threw a glare at Forrest across the fire. We would have been fine if a spell hadn't sent us off course, he growled. When they looked ready to argue again, I angrily stoked the fire, and they fell silent. You can tear each other apart later. Now what and who are you? I pointed my half-burnt stick towards Forrest. He bowed his head as he formally introduced himself. I am Forrest, son of Katlyn, chieftain of the Chimalis clan. So not a prince? I clarified. He shrugged. Depends on who you ask, but I'm of royal descent. Great, stranded out here with two princes. I poked at the ground again, trying to stay calm and not freak out. This was a lot to take in. I was a dragon. Or at least, that's what they told me. How could Forrest know? And Craig, did he know too? What had he and Mama Lucy talked about while I was gone? And Mama Lucy, she was a real witch. This was too much. I wanted to go home, back to my quiet town and quiet life. There had to be a way to just get out of here and leave them behind to fight it out. I stood and took 3 steps before I remembered the giant monster that had attacked me, and I promptly turned around and sat back down. So, you really didn't know what you are? Forrest asked quietly, as if worried I'd deck him again. No, I didn't know, and I still don't think I believe you. How can you not after what you've seen? He shot back. You're a dragon. The faster you accept that, the faster we can find a way out of this mess, and you can return to where you belong. Craig sucked in a breath and muttered, Wrong move, man. I felt something shift within me, a sensation that made me want to rip off the bracelet and see what would happen. What did you say? You're a dragon. Your place is with me and the rest of your kind. And who the hell are you to make that decision for me? I am technically your prince, he said. Craig shook his head frantically. I think someone disagrees with you, I said, nodding towards Craig. Forrest's nostrils flared and smoke poured out of them. You know nothing. Actually, I do. I paid attention when I was being raised in my father's house, and I know a dragon only owes allegiance to the chieftain that rules each clan and the families within it. Unless her family is part of your clan, she does not have to do as you order, Craig said with a smug smile and crossed his arms. You're welcome, he added to me in an undertone. She doesn't know which family she comes from, do you? Forrest asked as he turned towards me. That bracelet, who gave it to you? Self-conscious, I spun the bracelet around on my wrist. I don't want to talk about it, I whispered, recalling how vividly I had seen the events of that night in the garden. I was not about to share those details with these two idiots, not unless I had to. Then how are we supposed to help you? I glowered at Forrest and opened my mouth to tell him exactly how he could help me when a growl slipped from my lips. Startled, I slapped my hand over my mouth as Forrest blinked at me and Craig scooted back a bit. What was that? I whispered when I thought it might be safe to talk. That was your inner dragon, Forrest told me. If you allow me, I can help you control it. But that would mean letting it out, right? Taking the bracelet off? It's the only way, yes. Then no, not right now. I think we should focus on getting back home. No, Forrest said impatiently. I am returning you both to my home. Craig has a bounty on his head, and you do not belong in the human world. I belong with Mama Lucy and those kids. And I bet that witch is the reason you've been trapped all your life. He was on his feet as he ranted, more smoke trailing from his nose as his fingers curled at his sides. There is a reason we do not associate with that kind. I was on my feet next, ready to go for round 2, but Craig stepped in between us, stopping me from doing something I'd probably regret later. Leave it be for now, all right? Katlyn's right. Our main focus should be getting out of this realm. I backed away a few steps and held my hands up to show I wasn't going to go after him. Works for me as long as it's the human world. Did I really just say that? The human world? It didn't matter. Later, when we were safe and I was back with Mama Lucy, I'd let myself fall apart completely and laugh hysterically at what had happened to me. If I knew where we were, I might be of more help, Forrest commented. Craig scratched the back of his head. Look, I'm just guessing. I could be wrong. A guess is better than running around blind, I sighed. Just spit it out. Where do you think we are? There, see? I could sound perfectly calm and collected when I wanted to. You called this the burnt world when we arrived, Forrest said. I've never heard of such a place. And you wouldn't, not if you didn't dig around for some lore on the plague. Plague? I repeated. What plague? But Forrest was already laughing. Well, not laughing, really. More of a mocking cackle that made me want to smack him. There were rumors floating around that you'd completely lost it. And I see now the rumors are true. A plague? You speak nonsense. I speak the truth that no one wants to believe. He threw up his arms as he spun in a circle. Look around you. What do you think is killing this world, huh? I can tell you it wasn't always like this. And this plague killed the world? I asked, trying to follow. No, Forrest growled. There is no plague. He's lying. Why would I lie? Why? I gain nothing from lying about a plague that's going to kill us all. Why does no one want to believe this is happening? I want to believe you, but I'm having enough issues accepting dragons and demons are real. Craig walked over to the nearest tree and, using the sword he carried, swung it wide and sliced off a branch. It fell to the ground with a loud thud, and I glanced around worriedly. Those giant furry beasts couldn't be too far behind, and any loud noises could drag them over here, including my yelling from earlier. I'd have to be more careful. What are you doing? Forrest demanded. We don't have time for show and tell. Craig ignored him and picked up the branch. He motioned for us to come closer to look at it. Forrest mumbled something about half-demons being prone to madness, but when I moved forward, so did Forrest. You can't tell me that doesn't worry you at all, Craig muttered. I leaned in to stare where the rings of the branch should have been visible, but instead a strange, almost metallic black ooze filled the branch. It stank of rot, and when I reached closer, it bubbled and started to churn. What's it doing? I asked, transfixed by what I was seeing. His mouth moved, but whatever came out was lost on me. The dark ooze called to me. I reached out to touch it, wanting to see what it would do when a high-pitched scream reverberated through my mind. I smashed my hands over my ears, trying to block it out as something warm oozed out of my ears. I sank to my knees, begging for it to stop, and then it cut off violently. Katlyn! Katlyn, can you hear me? I opened my eyes to find Craig looking down at me, brow creased in worry. But it was the fear in his eyes that told me what I just experienced was not supposed to happen. I'm all right, I muttered. Your ears are bleeding. Really? I lifted my hands to them and cursed when they came away bloody. That's awesome. Just add that to the list of crappy things happening today. Ah, guys, Forrest muttered, but Craig was too busy pulling me to my feet and checking my eyes. He was close, very close, and I had a chance to catch the woodsy scent on him. I liked it, but then I gave myself a mental shake. We were in some plague-stricken world with monsters wandering around. Now was not the time to focus on how attractive this half-demon was. Craig.
What? He snarled, and I saw his face darken as his demon half looked ready to come out to play. I had no idea what he would look like if that happened, and frankly, wasn't sure I could handle that on top of everything else.
What is that? Then I glanced up and realized Craig shifting would be the least of my troubles.
Run! Craig gasped, taking hold of my hand and sheathing the sword at his back. Run!
The black ooze slipped from the branch, and as I chanced to look over my shoulder, I saw it rise up and form into a beastly figure with arms way too long to be human and legs that bent backward. Its head reared back, and a horrifying scream escaped its lips. I'd been letting Craig pull me along, but now I sprinted with everything I had as the thing gave chase. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling adventure through a world of dark fantasy and epic confrontations. As Katlyn, Craig, and Forrest continue their battle against the forces of darkness, the story is far from over. What challenges lie ahead? Will our heroes triumph, or will the shadows consume them? Stay tuned for more chapters, epic battles, and mystical encounters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to follow their journey, and be the first to witness the next twist in this epic saga. Until then, keep your sword sharp and your courage unyielding.